Hey, Deanna Seymour here with a quick heads up. This is a collection of past shows and ongoing experiments. You're going to hear different intros and old ads, but the ideas still hold up. You can tell where you're at by the cover art. And if you ever want to chat about life and business, check out my free community at jointheplayhouse.com. Okay, if you love things like Enneagram, Human Design, Myers-Briggs, Clifton Strengths, all the things, you're going to love today's episode because my guest today has created a new way to see your personality and overlay it with the personalities of your coworkers, partner, best friends, or whoever you want to. It is seriously so cool. We're going to dive into it and my results and all the things. And in case you're new here, you're listening to my cool series called Cool People Doing Cool Things on my podcast, Big Fun Small Business. And I'm your host, Deanna Seymour, graphic designer and founder of the Playhouse, where networking is actually fun. Today, I'm hanging out with Cara Steinman. She's the founder of Sheer Personality, helping people understand themselves and each other through a new framework for relational intelligence. All right, let's get to it. Hey, Cara, how's it going?
Hey, Dee, how are you doing?
I am good. I'm so happy to talk to you today. I feel like it's been too long. We've both been like in the weeds, heads down, working hard.
I know. I feel so bad when I get busy and I let some of my relationships go stagnant, but we always come back.
Yeah, I feel like we have even checked in along the way. It's just not usual long hangs. But then as I saw what you were creating start to come to life, I was like, oh my God, do you want to be on the series Cool People Doing Cool Things? Because you're doing cool things.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so let's just dive right in because I feel like we all love, and you're going to correct me if I'm wrong, by calling it like a personality thing or I feel like Enneagrams, Human Design, anybody listening who loves those things is going to love Sheer, right?
That's probably the easiest way to understand it is that it is a personality test. It's another way to look at yourself and develop self-concept, understand what you're all about, how you move through the world, right?
Mm-hmm. And I love it. So dive in. Tell us what it is, maybe why you made it, because I know you come from a background of like networking and relationships and all this stuff. So give us the quick story of why you made it, and then tell us what the heck it is.
Okay. Well, I will tell you, most of you probably, like you and everybody else who's really close to me in business right now, have been watching me do like the networking relationship thing, right? But my actual real background, if you go back 25 years, is psychology and personality science. And I've been kind of obsessed with like, why are we the way we are forever? Like, like a giant personality nerd. And I like eat to the point where and I've always felt kind of like not normal. And maybe that's the ADHD thing I know you get it. Like, I'm like, I don't quite fit here. I'm not sure why, but like in college, at junior college, I took abnormal personality and got an A and was like, well, I still don't really understand what's wrong with me. And so I took it again when I got to UC Davis, thinking maybe that the teaching would be better, higher quality. And I got an A again, still didn't, still walked away like, I don't understand. So like there's this deep need in me to understand people and why we are the way they are, why we are the way we are. And so like over time, anybody who's obsessed with this kind of thing takes all the tests, discs. I became a Clifton Strengths coach at one point in time recently. Enneagram, Human Design, astrology, all of these tools are super valuable, but they all have like some flaw. Nothing's perfect, right? But I think if you take a grain of truth from each, you can kind of get a picture of who you are and how you move through the world. So Sheer is largely derived from the Big Five, which is one of the more validated, more regularly studied. It's a temperament test. Sheer came to be because we don't have a really good way to look at ourselves outside of a box. Like you get boxed into your Myers-Briggs type. You're boxed into one of, 9 Enneagram types. And some of the really validated personality science, like Big Five, gives you a really good like basis for understanding how you move through the world and maybe how you relate. But it's like 0 to 100. So like if you're neurotic on that scale, nobody wants to self-identify that way. Nobody's going to say, oh, I'm highly neurotic. I'm very low in conscientiousness. Like that's just not how we want to see ourselves. It's kind of like not great language. So I sort of reimagined it and took a lot of different pieces from different personality science like avenues and created a framework that's more friendly for us to self-identify with. It helps reframe some of the maybe ways we've been misunderstood. It's also delivered on a spectrum. So SHEER's an acronym, and it stands for structure, harmony, emotional permeability, expression, and receptivity. And so those are all, we all live somewhere on a spectrum, on the spectrum of each of those 5 dimensions. And when you take the SHEER assessment, you see where you fall on each of those spectrums, but we present it in in a shape, in a constellation, so that you can kind of visually see where you fall. And
Mm.
nothing's like written in stone, right? In different contexts, like I'm highly adaptive, but in different contexts, under certain types of pressure, I might have to be more structured. But in order to be a naturally structured person, it's going to take a lot of energy for me. I'm just not.
I'm like I'm like,
It's
what would have
hard.
to happen for
And
you
and
to
I've
be
had
structured?
and this is why it's important, because we move through our lives as these people, as this person. I am this person whether I like it or not. Like sometimes, like yesterday, I had a really bad day. I was being a total spaz. My sister called me out and I felt really shitty about it because I am kind of a spaz. And it really works for me in some ways. In some ways it's really difficult, but she's also highly structured. So we do struggle, and that's kind of where SHEER is different than a personality test, because it is actually a relational intelligence system. So you take your assessment, you learn about yourself, you understand how your patterns show up, and then you can overlay that your pattern with someone else's and look at how you show up together and where you might find conflict or where you might thrive, what you might be really great at doing together. So there's a lot of implication here for team building and conflict resolution, romantic relationships, co-founders. Like I was just telling you before we started recording, my one of my good friends, Mel, one of my best biz besties, Mel, from like way back, we've started so many businesses together and failed at every single one. I just wrote a Substack article about it because it's so funny now that I look at our constellations, our SHEER constellations over top of each other, because we're too alike. We
Mm-hmm.
have there's no we're really adapt. We're both super adaptive and open to new ideas, very receptive, and we have no structure and no guardrails. So we would start something and then we would come back together the following week and nothing had been done and we had changed our plan, and we had like just terrible co-founders, great friends. We travel really well together. So these are different contexts of our
Mm-hmm.
relationship, right?
Yeah. Or you just have to pull in a third person to keep
And
you guys in line. Like I
that's
love the because it's kind of tricky sometimes. You're like, okay, well, and I never know a lot about human design or Enneagram or all that. Like I feel like I just skim the surface of all of it because I think it's cool, but then I like move on too quick, like another shiny object. But I'm like, okay, well, I'm a 7. Who should I like? How does that relate to other
yeah,
people? And I'm sure people know that and they could teach me. But the cool thing is where you can easily see on the way the constellation is mapped out.
yeah.
So people listening, like I've taken this year assessment also. And actually, when I pulled mine up before this interview to show Cara, you started cracking up because you were like, oh my God, ours are almost the same, except for I am more structured than you, but
Mhm.
all our other dots in this constellation look very similar. So I just
Yeah.
think it's really a really cool visual, as a former art teacher to see, oh, like you
Yeah.
you immediately saw you and Melissa's stuff together and we're like, oh, that answers a lot of questions.
And like that's what I mean when I say that there are little bits and pieces of all of the different personality assessments that I've studied over the years. Like I wanted to present this on a spectrum, but I also wanted to present it visually in a way
Mm-hmm.
that was closer to what DISC does, because DISC will some DISC assessments will show you your personality in like a more in like a circle, and the closer you are to the middle of the circle, the easier it is for you to get to the other side,
Mm.
right? And that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like you being more structured. It's easier for you to move in and out of structure and adaptivity than it is for me. You can get to structure. You're kind of in the middle of that one.
Mm-hmm.
It's way easier for you to be more structured if you have to be than it is for me, because I'm way over on the other side of the spectrum. It takes a lot more energy for me to get there.
Yeah, like your dot is way further down towards adaptive. So
Yeah.
anybody listening who's like, Deanna got structured, I did, but I'm not like full up into all the way unstructured. I'm
And
like
that's
poking my head into structured.
and that's where it kind of gets interesting too, because these different dimensions play together. So you don't always appear very structured because you're really high in receptivity too.
Mm-hmm.
And so you are not going to turn down a new idea just because it's new. Somebody who's more selective on that rescale who's more selective is going to be like, I need to think about, no, this is working fine the way it is. We're not entertaining new ideas. Let's just stick
Hmm.
with what we've got. You're willing to sit and play around with new ideas and more like play with what if. And so you do
Yes.
tend to adapt more easily because of that.
Well, that's funny because I'm looking at my thing on my screen and I'm,
Yeah.
yeah, between selective and receptive, I'm like almost all the way turned up to 10, like turned all the way up to
Yep.
receptive. So that makes sense how it can play off each other. So okay, because for someone listening who's like, y'all are talking about the constellation and I can't even see it. Do you want to talk
So
about the different spectrums that are on the chart?
yeah, let's
Is
do
that a good
that.
way? Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. And also they could just pause it and go take it's free assessment.
Yes.
Just go to
Go take it. It's so fun.
sheerpersonality.com, start the assessment and take it. Do you want to talk about each one of the dimensions?
Yeah. Is that okay?
Okay.
Let's
Yeah,
do it.
so structure is how you relate to structure. You're
Mm-hmm.
either somewhere on the spectrum of structured versus adaptive. In the middle, you have a lot more flexibility to move in and out of structure or adaptive depending on the context and where you're at. If you're way on that structured side, like imagine me on a team, I'm super adaptive. I'm like as far as you can get on adaptive
Mm-hmm.
and receptivity. So I look like a spaz a lot of the time, but that's not what's going on. So if I'm on a team with somebody who's highly structured and I'm highly adaptive, you can see where there could be conflict
Mm-hmm.
unless there's somebody in there who's closer to the middle. Like you would be a great person to help soften that relationship between me and the person who's really structured because we're not
Mm-hmm.
going to naturally understand each other unless maybe we've taken sheer and we understand what's going on here and we
Yeah.
can use this sort of gives us language. So initially you go learn about yourself, take your sheer assessment, get your constellation. We've got an insight guide too that's like we've trained an AI agent to help you understand. You can ask it questions and stuff and name it. I named mine Iris. And so I talk to Iris and I say, "Why am I having such a hard time with this?" And she's like, "Well, you're probably leaning into this or that." So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, that's where it gets really interesting when you start looking at teams. But so that's
I could see it
structure.
with like even like an online business with the people I mostly work with. Like I could see them wanting to hire a VA. And if
Hmm.
there was a way to like see their sheer personality type, I feel like in this sense, probably
Yeah,
like maybe not total opposites attract, but like kind of like how you were saying you and Melissa working together was like no structure.
right.
Somebody like me would, well, I guess I'm kind of in the middle on that. But I do crave structure. Like that's where I need a little bit of help. So I think seeing even people you're going to hire or people have hired me before and I don't know what this means about their sheer personality, but they will like write me with like edits or something and just be like, I need a little like, hey, good morning, da, da, da. Like I want it to be like
Yeah,
nice and fluffy and friendly before you're like, okay, on slide 1 I want to change this, on slide 2 I want to change, and I'm like, ew, this person is so rude and treating me like a robot and I hate it. But also if I knew their constellation, maybe I would be like, okay, well they're just like super
yeah. They
to the
might be
point or
really
whatever.
so that brings us to like another one of those is harmony, right? You're pretty high in
Mm-hmm.
harmony.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit more close to the middle. So I can be a little bit of a pain in the ass when I want to change something or when I see something that needs to be fixed or when I don't know. So harmony on that side of the spectrum, your primary focus is maintaining the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side is the highly challenging person. And I intentionally did use the word challenging because I think women, especially, we get a bad rap if we're, quote, challenging. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's an upside and a downside to everything. And if you're highly challenging, you're getting to the truth, you're getting to the bottom of it. You're pressing for progress, regardless of what it means to the relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
again, imagine a husband and wife where one of them is highly harmonizing and the other one is highly challenging. It's going to cause conflict unless you know exactly what you're dealing with and you have language to work around it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So structure harmony, emotional permeability. So you just mentioned your email, your preference for email conversation. I'm the same way. I'm pretty high on emotional permeability. I feel a lot of the people's emotions around me. If I'm in a room and somebody gets in a fight, I physically feel that.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like I it lives with me for a little while in my body. Other people aren't as affected by other people's emotions. They don't pick up the vibe in the room. So the next one is expression, and that one's really about like how you process internally or externally. It's not like introversion, it's more about like how you process and how much visible like energy you bring to an interaction. So like I'm pretty expressive. I'm moderately expressive. And so I actually have to talk out loud to think through stuff sometimes. I can't take something and sit and think about it. Like I will talk to myself if I have to work through something. Whereas my husband, and I got a whole other post coming about opposites. Because we're totally his and my constellation barely touch. We only touch. We're exactly the same in harmony on the harmony
Okay.
spectrum. So I think that's part of why it does work. But
Uh-huh.
he is highly receptive. So on that expressive selective spectrum, or I'm sorry, expressive reflective.
Mhm.
I'm highly expressive. I need to talk out loud. He's reflective. He needs to take something and sit with it for a minute and think about it. And so it was really interesting when I had him do it. I had him test it for me when we were still in the development phase. And I saw his constellation and I was like, yeah, duh, I know this. And he really pretty much knew all that he had learned about him. Sheer didn't really tell him too much about himself that he didn't already know, right? But where
Mhm.
it got interesting was where we asked the insight, we did the overlay. And the report said one of your biggest challenges as a couple is going to be her high expression and your high reflection. Because when you guys need to do something together, she's going to be chasing you around trying to talk about it. And you're like, oh my God, leave me alone. I have to process this.
I'm dying laughing because this is me and Matt,
It's,
100%. Like, I'm
oh,
like,
and
oh my God, you don't even care. And he's like, oh my God, chill. And I'm
yeah,
like, or I just am telling him my thoughts as they enter my head. And he is like, okay,
yeah,
calm
and
down. I got it.
sometimes my thoughts aren't formed yet. And so
Oh, yeah.
he's actually really structured. My husband's really structured too. So if I'm talking my way through something and the structure is not complete, he's really uncomfortable and I'm talking out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And he's like trying to process what you just said. And then you're like,
and then
actually, you
there's
know what?
more.
And it's the opposite of what I just
Yeah.
said.
And then I
So,
just changed my mind. You know what? Like, never mind what I said. So that was interesting though, because I didn't pester him about, I wanted feedback on Sheer, but I didn't pester him. And then like 2 nights later we were at dinner and he just started giving me feedback without me asking. And he said that what he had taken away from it more than anything was not, he knew he was reflective and needed to process internally, but he didn't realize how that came across to other people. So at
mhm.
his work, he has to talk on the phone a lot to people, and he realized that when he's talking to people and he needs to process, they probably think he's disengaging from the conversation, that he's not there, that he doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
And so he started telling people at work, I'm with you, I'm engaged, I just need a second to process. And it's totally
Mm-hmm.
changed the way that people are receiving him because they just needed to know that.
Yeah.
And he actually used that on me at dinner that night too, because I was talking and he got quiet and he's like, I'm with you. I'm still here. I'm just thinking. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you are so cute. Look at you using my own stuff on me.
Well, I think that's what's so cool about it. And I think knowing you for years now, the fact that you, like you were saying, people who've known you forever know you as like a networking person, a relationship person. And so this is a way to take a personality test, but the overlay, and I love that you're using the word overlay because it really does feel like, I don't know, we're in our 40s. We all know about an overhead projector back in school, and the teacher could
Totally.
like put multiple pieces of clear acetate on that overhead projector. I feel like that's basically what you can do
Yeah.
inside
Yeah.
Sheer, and
And
it's so cool.
right now we're beta testing multiple overlays because at a
Ooh.
certain point it does get a little messy looking. So right
Yeah.
now, people who are beta testing for us can overlay up to 5 people.
Okay.
And I set it at 5 because I really want to overlay me and my 4 best friends from high school as a way to test how accurate this is because I know them so well. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
I know why me and Jen have trouble when we travel because she's the one with the itinerary, like ruining all my adaptability.
Mm-hmm.
So where were we? That was expression, and then we talked about emotional permeability,
Mm-hmm.
and then the last one is receptivity, and that one's about your openness to ideas and other ways of thinking. Um, People who are highly receptive tend to like to entertain things that they don't understand that might be different from what they believe, even if they don't plan on changing their mind. Like we're the ones, you're pretty receptive too. And we're
Mm-hmm.
willing to sit there and be like, we love the what if ideas. Like, oh my God, what if this, what if that? That would be so fun. That would be so cool. I sometimes wonder if it is part of like the way that I ruminate though too. Like, because
Mm.
it's not always happy, cool stuff that we're saying what if about. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm imagining all the terrible scenarios sometimes too.
Yes.
So like a lot of imagination. And then on the other side of that, you've got more selective. People who are selective are, they have the way that they think about it, and it's not, they're not going to let something, some new perspective or something that's going to shift their reality. They're not going to entertain that quite as easily.
Hey, what are you doing on Thursdays? Want to come hang with me inside the Playhouse? It's part networking space, part creative clubhouse, and part, oh, thank God, other weirdos like me. And until July 2nd, you can join for just $150 per year. Head to jointheplayhouse.com to check it out. See you next Thursday. They're like, who cares about shiny objects, you ding dong? Stay focused on what we're on.
They're more focused. They're more selective about what they're willing to put their, that's a great way to say it. More focus.
So it kind of makes sense too that like, I mean, now I'm like interested. I'm like, oh my God, I want to see a bunch of different people. Even if I don't know them, I'm just interested to see how it could all land for a person. But it seems like, maybe I'm wrong, but receptive people are probably more permeable. Do you think that's probably true? But now I'm turning into a scientist and I'm like, that's my hypothesis.
I don't know. These are great questions. And what I love about this is that we don't know. I'm hoping some like university people will get involved and we can answer some of these questions. One interesting related to what you just said is I'm highly expressive, right? Which looks like I'm extroverted. And I do think I probably am extroverted. I'm quick to jump into conversations. I love talking to other people, but I also really get burnt out easily, and I need a lot of downtime. I need a lot of alone time before I want to be with people again. And I realized through Sheer, it gave me an explanation for this. And I didn't come up with this, actually, the insight guide. I asked my insight guide, I was like, why do I seem so introverted sometimes when I'm clearly more like I'm expressive. I'm around people. I have to talk out loud. And it pointed out that I'm highly permeable, highly emotionally permeable too. So especially big crowds, like if I go to a concert or I'm at a big party or something like that, it'll take me a while to recover from that. And I think it's just absorbing all that energy from other people, picking up on all the little emotional social cues that are out there.
Yeah, like somebody who's maybe like really expressive, but what's on the other side of permeable? Grounded.
Grounded, yeah. If you're
would that just be like, that's like more, probably more like a person who could be extroverted all the time. And
yeah,
like,
if you were grounded and highly expressive, you probably wouldn't need a lot of time to recover.
yeah,
I'm guessing.
I know, me
Because
too.
you're not absorbing, you're not picking up, you're very grounded in what you feel. It's not confused. You're not confusing what you feel with what somebody else feels. It's a little bit like that highly sensitive person thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you're not really impacted by the emotions of the people around you and you are highly expressive, you can probably go all day, is my guess.
Yeah. I'm okay. So just if anybody takes a test and they get expressive and grounded, don't take what I'm about to say personally. Because in my mind, someone who would score that with that would kind of be like a person at the party that is like overdoing it. Maybe your mansplainer would have that. Like it kind of feels like the type of personality too who maybe would like be so set in their ways, but also really loud. Like it feels, but maybe that's because I'm on the other end of permeable. So then I would feel like, you're a lot, you know, I don't know. So if anybody takes it, tell me if you get that, because I probably like you if you're listening to this podcast. And if you get it, I'm like, change my mind. But you know, there's people like that, or they're charismatic, but they're not very interested in other people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just
all these possibilities are out here because this is a newer assessment, right? This is brand new. I just developed. I've been developing it for over like 20 years, but it's visible now. You can see what's been going on in my head for a long time. But when you get your results for Sheer, you also see that this has a dark side. Like anywhere you fall has a superpower. There's no good or bad position to be on these spectrums of these dimension spectrums. But anything that we exhibit can have a dark side, right? And this is where like some of us who have stronger personalities in some of these dimensions, like my highly adaptive, I have been accused of being flaky in the past because I changed my mind. And so for me, and probably a lot of women with ADHD, I'm imagining, and a lot of people who have stronger parts of their personality, not everybody's super balanced, right? That can be a superpower for me but it's also been framed for me in a really negative way a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a really an opportunity for healing here, not just for ourselves, but between people to help understand each other and build more empathy for the parts of ourselves that have been framed poorly.
I know. I'm like, that's a mansplainer.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm on this side. Anybody who's grounded is totally a mansplainer.
But
Um,
that's where the self-reflection and the awareness comes in. If you know more, you do better. If we have a
mhm.
responsibility, if we know more, we have to do better. So
Yeah.
if I and this is what happened, I was telling you I got in an argument with my sister yesterday because I was being a spaz. And I thought about it all afternoon because I was like, you know what? I really have to own that because I was my adaptable and like couple of my dimensions yesterday for some reason were just out of control. I was maybe it's the coffee. I don't know. I don't usually drink coffee and I did drink coffee yesterday, but I was out of control. And
Hmm.
anything that goes wild and you have no like like you have to be aware of it, right? And then you can kind of like moderate it a little bit or modulate it a little bit.
Yeah. I like this. Okay. And like, I mean, I feel like being permeable or expressive could also be like people might have said you're too sensitive. Like thinking about
Absolutely.
like how people say that. Or even I will say too that sometimes with like harmonizing, I can get myself in trouble sometimes feeling like I'm not like picking a side. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like see it from both sides. And it can feel like, what? Take a stance, chump. I mean, and I'm like, I just want
Yeah.
everyone to like
Or
be happy and nice. Like, oh,
like people pleasing, right? Like
mm-hmm,
you have to be careful not to fall into the trap of people
mm-hmm,
pleasing. And
yep,
like I'm not going to get into like the trauma response of that either because we have fawning too, right? But I
yeah,
think in my personal opinion, I think that the difference between that, like if it's a trauma response, it's more about you compromising your boundaries. And if you're
mm-hmm,
genuinely harmonizing, in a healthy way, you're not compromising your boundaries. You're just nurturing the relationship as opposed to the challenging it.
yeah, yeah. I probably my teacher background makes me a harmonizer too, because you're like trying to lead 20 different personalities in a room and
Yeah.
trying to make sure everyone
Or
is nice to each
and
other.
it's a chicken egg thing too, right? Or maybe you went into that field
Teaching.
because it was easy for you to harmonize all these little scallywags.
I know. Oh my gosh. All right. Now I'm thinking of Trolls. What is that? Like Trolls 3 where they have to make the perfect harmony?
Oh,
I feel like I bring up Trolls too much. You can tell I have
I've never
kids.
seen it.
Well, your kid's older
Your
than my kids, so
your kids are a lot younger than mine.
yeah. Oh my gosh, Cara, this was so fun. Everybody go seriously take this assessment. It's so fun. And then also I'm like, tell me what you got. Let's overlay some stuff. Let's
Yeah.
get out an overhead projector and
I
see
want to
what
have
everybody
some
looks like.
conversations about this. I want to hear from people like, oh, me and my husband did the overlay and look at what we've been dealing with all these years. I thought it would be really interesting to see my husband and I because we've been married for 21 years and like
Mhm.
what we've overcome
Yeah,
and
you're like,
how,
look, oh my God, how did we make it? Look at our
yeah,
constellation.
how does this even work?
Well, I think like couples counselors could totally benefit from this. But I mean, like team leaders, people, like I can see,
Yeah.
I honestly too, like
Coaches.
teachers, like, I feel like I just brought up teaching, but when you're like on the third grade team, that's hard. Like I've seen people try to
Yeah.
navigate working together. I mean,
I
I
don't
guess I was
really,
on the team with the other like the PE teachers, but
oh, you
even
teacher to
I've
teacher?
had some like crazy art teacher teams where like I was annoying because the other person I'm sure was structured. She was about to retire. She was set in her ways, and I wasn't doing anything that she wanted me to do. Um,
Well,
but
small
it would have been
businesses.
nice to be able to sit down with a mediator or a art supervisor and be like, dude, she wants the cabinet this way, but she gets to teach what she wants. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's amazing. I think it's
And
so
for me,
cool.
understanding why somebody wants something some way, like
Mm-hmm.
understanding why Jeremy needs, why he's not responding right away, my husband,
Mm-hmm.
it makes all the difference for me. He's not
Yeah.
trying to be a dick. He's not pushing me away. He's just, that's how he processes. He needs that to process effectively. To give me what I need, that's what he needs.
Mm-hmm.
And like you mentioned earlier, teams. I'm a small operation. I'm a solopreneur, but I have like a bunch of contractors that work for me, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm in very intentionally hiring these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like my developer that I work with most directly, we've done the overlay with him and with my project manager, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so beautiful because he's pretty structured, but he's also really receptive. So he listens and he hears me. He just he's not always willing to change direction or move away from the plan unless it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. So
Mhm.
if we didn't
So
have
he's probably a little bit over on the challenging side too. Like he's not scared to be like,
he's a
Cara,
little
I
more
think we need to.
challenging than I am. Yeah.
Than you are.
A little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah. But
Mhm.
it's a good balance, but I can see that. And
Mhm.
I know that he's really reflective. So he's more like my husband. He needs to think about stuff. So I send him emails and I leave him and then I leave him alone. I don't pester him. I know that he's going to take some time to get back to me. So knowing that he gets to work in his sweet spot, I get to work in my sweet spot. And if I didn't have the people on my team who are great at executing and great at structure and getting shit done, I would never get anything done.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of benefit to teams, even if it's a small team.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I also think that if it's like somebody's results, it feels, I guess I'm speaking from like, I mean, just any kind of relationship, really. I was going to say like a partner, but you're like, oh, that's where you land on this. It feels less defensive or like, what do you mean you have to have time to process? Like if someone just says, I need time to process, I think seeing it as a result to me in my brain is like, oh, okay. Yeah, he needs more time to process. He's not just saying that to like make me leave him alone.
Well, there's something about visually seeing how far apart you are from somebody too. Like
Mhm.
I'm very far apart from Jeremy on that expressive spectrum. And so
Mhm.
I can then sort of understand that my reality is very different than his and
Mhm.
that that's okay. It's not bad or good. It's just very different. So he has a very different way of moving through the world on that dimension.
Mhm. Yeah. Or when you saw Melissa's, you were like, oh my God, hilarious. No wonder all those businesses failed.
Yeah,
Look at us
yeah.
over here with all these ideas and no structure.
Yeah, well,
Whoopsie.
she's an interesting one too because she's doing some work for me for Sheer right now as a contractor and some content marketing stuff. And in the beginning, I was asking a little bit more of her than I probably should have, knowing how she operates because she's not structured. And so I've been using the Insight Guide to ask questions about her and my relationship professionally. Like I have a whole overlay just dedicated to her and I working together on Sheer stuff in that context because we are very different in a working environment together than we are when we travel together. We're not
Mhm.
loosey goosey. I'm more challenging in my role as a founder than I am in my role as a travel companion. I'm
Yeah.
super loose.
Uh-huh.
I'm super harmonizing when I travel, but I'm a little bit more challenging in a role where there's something at stake and I really need something to happen. I'll push a little harder, right?
Mhm.
And she's more harmonizing than I am. So I've been actually using the Insight Guide a lot to solve problems. I'll put an email in there and be like, hey, this is what I want to say to Melissa. What should I say so that she'll hear me and not get defensive? And it'll,
Mhm.
spit back something at me. And then, and then I edit that to match my voice. And then I put it back in and say, update your instructions. This is how I talk.
Mhm.
But preserving the relationship, we get to the solution faster because neither one of us is secretly feeling any resentment.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I love it. Everyone listening should go take the sheer assessment. I'm going to link it in the show notes, obviously. I know you and I both do not really love social media, but is there anywhere people should go to hang out with you or just take the assessment? Then they'll be in the loop. Or what do you want them to do?
Yeah, I mean, this sheerpersonality.com, SHEER, is where you can start taking the test. And we're on LinkedIn, and I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm on Instagram too, but mostly personally.
Yeah,
I'm more of a lurker these days.
I love it. All right. Well, I thank you so much for being here. This was
Thank
so
you.
fun, and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Guess what? You're invited to our next Playhouse networking party. It's free, there's music, fun questions to break the ice, and absolutely no one will be pitch slapping you. Head to jointheplayhouse.com/party, and we'll see you there. Oh my gosh, I love these 80s vibes.